Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98, for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. And one more thing, we know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right, orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March the 1st, 2025. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. On our guest line today, John Phillips, owner of Phillips Auto Parts in western North Carolina. John, welcome. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Sure thing. Let's just talk for a minute, John. You're a business owner. You've seen firsthand some of the devastation that Hurricane Helene did in that North Carolina area, in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina. Let's talk for a minute about what you've seen your community go through since then.
Okay. You want to where do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, tell me about what you saw, the damage, and how the community has rallied to answer it.
Well, what you saw was something you've never laid your eyes on before. To start, in just the massive amount of water. You got to remember, we're the headwaters up here for y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
So it starts up here, and when it has 20-some inches or whatever it was dumped on it, it's moving out of here at a very rapid pace. So whatever got in its way, didn't matter if it's a car or a house or whatever it was, it was gone.
Yeah.
Really so much water that basically some of the rivers changed the topography of the land, and a lot of rivers are still not in their rivers and streams are not in their beds anymore, their natural beds. Just a lot of displaced families, a tremendous amount of damage, tremendous amount of loss. But the silver lining, I guess, now that we're 85 days into it here, the coming together of the community and the outpouring of support has been tremendous.
Yeah,
tremendous.
Let's go back, John, to the days leading up to the storm. I mean, we'd seen the forecast and that it could be making its way up from Florida, up through Georgia, South Carolina, into North Carolina. Did you ever have any idea that a hurricane could do the damage that it's done in our states?
No way. No. Just and gave it and paid it no mind, I guess, is the best way to tell it. We didn't give it a second thought, not even a second thought. And that's why I kind of, when it hit, it's like, holy smokes, nothing like this. You had Ivan come through here back about 20 years ago. They had those back-to-backers, which caused a lot of damage. But I mean, it was what happened is the infrastructure just got destroyed, so you couldn't get around. Of course, no cell phone service, everything just stopped. And it got eerily quiet when everything was done,
Yeah.
Eerily quiet.
How many days were you, and I know you have several locations for your business, but as far as utility service, electricity, water, has that pretty much been restored, or do you still have areas who are without services?
To my knowledge, all the power is back up.
Mm-hmm.
But now the power companies have some reinforcements when this happens, so they have a lot of other power companies come to their aid and their assist. Cable companies and telephone companies, not so much. They're still, you'll still be going down the road, and they'll have a one lane closed because somebody's trying to fix the phone line or the cable line or whatever
Right.
whatever they're trying to fix.
Right.
So you don't need to be in a hurry to get anywhere up through here. But as far as when it hit. Let's see, my locations, Banner Elk was crashed. My little Banner Elk store got crashed. I had to rebuild the network, which I didn't get that store open back up for 10 days. Newland got up and going pretty quickly, and Newland had the most water damage to it. It had a couple 3 inches of water come through that store. So that was basically a big mud cleanup. But the power and the internet and everything worked. So Newland was back online within, I want to say, October 2nd there, maybe, something like that. Spruce Pine, is an outlier. So we actually had to get the Elon Musk Starlink.
Wow.
To get that store up and running about day 5 or 6. We got that one up and running. In Burnsville, fortunately, which Yancey County got hammered too, but Burnsville was up and running about October 2nd, October 3rd. Now we were, when I say up and running, we were open.
Yeah.
And we were basically doing an honor system where we write it down, write you whatever you need, take whatever you need. We write your name down, number down. We'll call you when we get everything back up and running.
Yeah.
Was kind of the way we had to handle it. And in Banner Elk, we're rebuilding Banner Elk. I know a lot of the construction guys up there, so I said, hey, the keys sitting at the back door. If you guys need a hydraulic hose made or need anything y'all need, go in there and get it.
Yeah.
And but that was about the time frame. We're basically up and going within maybe just 10 days at the most, I would say, for Banner Elk. We were up in operational business, and then it's just been wide open. What we're trying to do is keep these crews that's putting this community back together. We're trying to make sure they've got what they need to put it all back together. And again, it's just a tremendous outpouring support of people from all over.
Right.
Coming to help and assist, and now they're getting paid. Let's not forget that. But it's made everybody a little bit nicer to each other. I can tell you that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. With me today, John Phillips. He's the owner of Phillips Auto Parts. He has multiple locations in the North Carolina mountains, Burnsville, Spruce Pines, in that area, an area that was hit very hard by Hurricane Helene. Now, John, you have, one of the things, I guess one of the positives, if there is, that's come out of this is we've seen a lot of communities come together. And as you just said, helping one another. And you've really seen the best part of people and how they help one another. And that's what you and others are doing, because there's a lot of people hurting there, and a lot of people, they need their cars. And so you are, there have been people who've been raising money and you've been discounting things, but just trying to help people, maybe with a battery or whatever. Talk with us about that and the outpouring of support that you've seen.
Joe, it's kind of hard to describe. You don't go through a natural disaster many times in your life, and so when you see the giving hand, I guess, the outpouring just keeps coming and coming and coming. So it's just for everybody, nobody's living in a tent, unless they want to up here. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to sleep cold. Most people have been placed somewhere. So that's a good thing. But it's just the rebuilding process is going to be here for a while. It's going to take a while to rebuild this. I mean, my hometown, Spruce Pine, the entire lower street, was at 8 feet of water in those businesses down there. And some of them are not coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some are not coming back. But the good in most people, the good in most people has certainly had an opportunity to shine during this time. But there's also been some advantage takers that's coming through here as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but I guess you probably see that in about every situation like this. But the good outshines that. I should say. Yeah.
By far. Yes.
Yeah.
By far it overshines.
Yeah.
Yes.
John, in our final minute or so here together today, talk with people who are listening. Life has gone back to normal for most people that were in the path, but you guys are a long way from that. How can people help who are listening today who live in other areas of, say, maybe South Carolina, Northeast Georgia, what can we do to help you guys?
Well, I can tell you just from my perspective, I can't say enough about Samaritan's Purse. Okay, I can't say enough about those guys because you know during the process you had the National Guard come in here, okay, and they helped a little bit, and then you had but Samaritan's Purse. Anytime the roughest spot, Joey, okay, the meanest, toughest, roughest places, you had those guys in those orange shirts, Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
They was out there. That's where they were. It's amazing. I'm just watching a truck right now run down the road. It's Samaritan's Purse box truck. I mean, they've been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
For sure. That would be my suggestion. It can do the most good. You know.
Yeah.
Everybody's tried to help, but I just that one has shined the most.
Sure.
From somebody that's here from somebody that's looking at it every day.
Sure.
Just telling you.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Samaritan's Purse is a great organization, and look, you know, they've had a lot of experience, unfortunately, at responding to these things. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what you need. John, thank you again for your time today. And look, we certainly continue to pray for you guys up there, and we hope that that recovery comes sooner than later.
Thank you for that, Joey. Speaking about praying, I did some praying myself to ask God what I'm supposed to do with these blessings He gives by keeping my stores open, and He's shown me what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So, thank you for mentioning that.
Sure thing. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Continuing today's show, Christmas is a time for giving. There's nothing more satisfying than to be able to help others, and especially when it involves children around Christmas. I was very fortunate growing up. We were middle income. My parents always made Christmas special for my sister and me. My mom still does, even as an adult. That's not the case for all children, though. We're living in some tough times more than ever. We have to step up and help out, and that's what it's all about, is helping one another, helping people in the community. There's a group doing just that for children in Oconee County, Christmas for Kids. On our guest line today, the director of Christmas for Kids, Kim Kelly. Kim, how are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much, Joey, for having me on.
Well, it is a pleasure. I'm just really impressed with what you guys do. So let's start at the beginning, if you would, Kim, and just give our listeners an overview of what Christmas for Kids is all about.
Great. We are a nonprofit 501c3 group that we provide Christmas to children in Oconee County from birth all the way up to 17, as long as they're still in school at that time. This is to help families out in our county that are struggling, that otherwise would not be able to provide Christmas for their children. So it's just a way of us being able to give and help them. Yeah.
And what a great job you guys do, too. Give us a little history of this and how this program actually started.
This started a little over 20 years ago. I'm thinking probably closer to 25 now. Jerry Edwards started the program. He saw the need, and he decided he wanted to do something about it. So he began this, I guess it's been about 25 years, and it started out small. I think in the beginning they were doing about 200 kids to start. I've been doing it now for 16 years, and the 16 years that I've done it, I've seen it grow from 500 or 600 kids all the way up to 1,200.
Wow.
That we do yearly.
So how do you determine what kids are involved in this?
We have a screening process. They have to meet income guidelines that we have set, and they have to come in and they have to provide the documentation. They have to provide the proof that they do live in Oconee County, for one. They have to provide their financial situation, either proving to us their food stamps, their income with, giving us tax returns or pay stubs. And then we just verify with other organizations and through the school that child that they're applying for, or children, are not receiving aid anywhere else from any other organization. We don't want to have more children. We would like to have more children getting help than less. So we try to avoid getting what we call double dippers.
Sure.
And that's where they would get help from us and someone else.
Yeah, just making sure that everyone is taken care of for sure. On my guest line today is Director of Christmas for Kids, Kim Kelly. If you'd like additional information about this wonderful organization, their website is c4kids.org, c4kids.org, and they have all the information about what they do and, of course, how you can become involved, whether it's a donation or maybe volunteering. And let's talk about donations, and I'm assuming that all of the money that is used for these toys and clothes and the gifts is raised right there in the community, right?
Yes, all our funds are raised within our community. People from around here are very generous and willingly give every year to our program, and they donate either through monetary donations, and some in November we do sponsorships where they can actually pick a child from the newspaper and sponsor that child, and they in turn then would go out and shop for the child.
Wow. Yeah.
But some people that would rather give the money and let us do the shopping.
Right. Yeah.
And either way is fine.
Yeah. Now, what about if someone has toys or they have clothes and all for kids? Do you take donations of those items?
We will, but we only accept new clothing and new toys. We do not do anything that has been gently used.
Right. Yeah. So all new, but if someone has new toys, then you will accept those.
We do, and they can turn those in at the Seneca Journal in downtown Seneca, or if they contact me through the website, I will be glad to come and pick them up.
Yeah. Let's talk a minute about once you have the toys and you have your list and it's completed, how do the children then get their gifts?
Well, we get the parents fill out a wish list form, which it gives us an idea of the child, what they like, what they're into. Of course, it gives us their clothing sizes. We then, in turn, pull their order from our warehouse, fill their order, and it's all put into a black garbage bag, so it's covered up. The children are not identified at all by name. They're by a family number and a letter, so that way it's very private. And even the elves that are working in the back volunteering do not know who they're filling the order for. The only one that has any clue at all whatsoever is myself, because I actually see the original application. So we fill the orders, and then we have 2 pickup days where the families come in and they check in, and we get their order out to them.
Wow. Yeah. Now, obviously, you take donations, cash contributions, and I'm assuming that you probably would do that year-round. But what about volunteer opportunities, too? If someone's listening today and they're thinking, I'd like to be part of that next year, what opportunities are there for volunteers?
Our volunteers are primarily needed during the month of November and December when we are getting ready for the event to happen, and then while we're, pulling the orders. They're in-house shoppers. They don't actually go physically to a store. They shop from our warehouse and pull the orders and help us pull the orders. And then, of course, we have what we call baggers that have to help bag and tag them and get them and put in the proper place. So there's opportunities there. There's opportunities to help out in the front with helping me on application days, because we're getting so many applicants coming in now that I really need a second person in the office with me.
Sure.
So, and then, of course, on pickup day, we have our elves that help hand out the gifts.
Yeah. I realize that Christmas is just a few days from now. Is there anything that people can do now to help for this Christmas?
We're pretty much done. We have successfully filled a little over 1,100 orders this year, and they have been received by the parents, although I still have daily, I've been getting at least 1 or 2 calls from people that still need help, and I do provide that. So this year, pretty much we're done, but again, we take money and we'll take any kind of donations of new clothing and toys anytime. Yeah.
Kim Kelly is Director of Christmas for Kids. This is a 501c3 nonprofit serving Oconee County. Their website is c4kids.org, and it's just a great organization that are doing a lot of good. for the kids in Oconee County. And if you'd like to be a part of this, I'm assuming that probably the day after Christmas you start planning for next year. Is that right?
We do. We've already kind of looked ahead as to when we're going to have our applicant dates going on and when we're going to do our pickup dates. We're already looking at that because, unfortunately, next year is like this year where Thanksgiving falls a little later.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, it does kind of rush us a little bit more. So next year we're actually going to probably start taking our applicants the end of October instead of waiting till the 1st of November, just to give us an extra week in there. So, yeah, we're already planning for next year, already going on.
Yeah, well, go to their website, cforkids.org, check them out, and reach out to Kim if you would like to be a part of this next year. Kim, thank you again. God bless you. Appreciate what you do in the community, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Joey, and thank you so much for letting me talk about this wonderful organization.
Sure thing.
Have you finished with your Christmas shopping yet? Well, I have some good news for you. MyPillow is glad to announce that their Christmas extravaganza is continuing. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98 when you use promo code Joey. And they're not going to last very long at this price. The famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. They're regularly priced at $119.98. Now, with promo code Joey, you can get them for $59.98. And the 6-piece towel set, these towels, you've heard me talk about them. They're very soft, but yet they are absorbent. Most times, you're not going to get a towel this absorbent. When you use promo code Joey, when you go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059, you're going to get them for just $29.98 with promo code Joey. $29.98 for a 6-piece towel set. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Use promo code Joey to get the very best deal on every single item, and Merry Christmas to you. Sleep in Heavenly Peace is a volunteer-driven nonprofit dedicated to building and delivering handmade, fully furnished beds to children in need. SHP's mission is to tackle childhood bedlessness, which they estimate affects about 3% of the population. Although a national organization, the Westminster chapter serves that Oconee County area, and on our guest line today is Kaitlyn Turner, the chapter president. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thanks for your time today. Let's just start with the 30,000-foot view of what Sleep in Heavenly Peace does.
So, Sleep in Heavenly Peace, we provide beds to children that do not have one. And when I say do not have one, that might mean that they are sleeping on a couch, on a pallet in the floor, on a mattress in the floor, or co-sleeping with a sibling or a parent, or even just, sleeping on an old broken bed that's been pieced together. We can provide beds to kids in all 13 Oconee County zip codes. And the only qualifications is for you to live within one of those zip codes and for the child to be between the ages of 3 and 17. And for that, you just to tell us that child does not have a bed.
Wow. Kaitlyn, it's just amazing to me that in the world that we live in today with all the resources we have, honestly, until I learned about Sleep in Heavenly Peace, I never thought about children out there who don't have a bed to sleep in.
Right. Miranda and I, my co-president, we're both teachers at Westminster Elementary School in Oconee County. And, we were having kids coming in saying that they were tired. And when we started probing, asking some questions, we found out that some of our own kids didn't have a bed. So that's kind of how we got started, and we found out about the need. As of tomorrow, we have delivered 200 beds to kids in Oconee County since the beginning of this year.
Wow, 200 beds.
Mm-hmm.
That is just amazing. And although, of course, we're in Christmas, and Christmas is the giving season, this is something you do year-round, isn't it?
It is. We take sponsored donations from any individual, any business, and that money goes towards buying the lumber and the tools needed to build the beds. Our bed builds are held as community events, and we try to hold a community event about once every 2 months or so. We've been able to build large numbers of beds at these events. We've built up to, I believe, 40 to 50 beds at a time. And it usually only takes us about 2 hours because we're having close to 100 people show up from the community to help us build these beds. But we also take sponsor builds, which just means like an organization or a church group or, a business can donate the funds, and then they can use it as like a building experience just for them. But, we build the beds and we get them out into the homes. When we deliver these beds, that money also goes to buying mattresses. We provide the child with a brand new mattress, a brand new comforter set, and a brand new pillow. So when we go into these homes and deliver these beds, that child has everything they need to be able to sleep that night.
Wow. Kaitlyn Turner is with me today. She's the chapter president of Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So when you talk about a building day, kind of walk us through that. Obviously, you have volunteers, but just kind of take us from the beginning of the day and how that unfolds.
So the Farm Center in Seneca has been absolutely wonderful to us in allowing us to use their big barn up on the hill to host many of our builds. But our builds are set up in stations, and they're set up in ways that anyone from a young child to an elderly person can come and find something that they can do to help put that bed together. We have sanding, we have some drilling stations, we have the staining stations, and even things such as like carrying wood from one station to the next is super helpful. We encourage, people to bring their kids with them because it's a great opportunity for their children to kind of see how they can begin to give back and help other kids in our community.
Yeah. Typically, what do you estimate the cost of a bed is?
It costs us about $250 to purchase all the lumber, all the screws and bolts, all the mattress, the bedding, and the pillow. We can cut down on some of that cost by receiving donations of new bedding and new pillows.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to always be collecting those things, as long as they're in a wrapping, they're brand new, they've never been used before, we're able to accept them. So that's twin size bed in a bag, twin size sheet sets, twin size comforters, and then standard size pillows. We have several donation drop-off spots throughout Oconee County. The Bluebird's Nest in Westminster, Tots and Teens in Seneca, the Salem Fire Department have been collecting some stuff for us. And then there's a haircut station, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, in Walhalla, that's also collecting for us. But you can find all that out on our Facebook page because we're always accepting donations to help cut down on that cost of how much it costs for us to build a bed so that we can build more beds and, instead of just constantly buying that
Sure.
comforters and pillows and stuff.
Sure. Kaitlyn Turner is with us today, chapter president of Sleep in Heavenly Peace. For additional information, you can go to their website, shpbeds.org, shpbeds.org, and what a wonderful organization this is for sure. So, Kaitlyn, if there's listeners today who think, well, that's something I'd like to be involved in, tell us what your needs are and how people can be involved. Obviously, I assume you probably would take cash donations, but in addition to that, how can people be involved?
I'm one of those people myself. I felt like I never had enough money to be able to give back because I was always trying to survive. But what I've realized is, everybody has some time. And by involving your family, there's a lot of different ways that you can volunteer together. We run delivery teams. We try to do those every weekend. If you'll reach out to us on Facebook or by email or phone, we get you set up on a delivery, and you and your kids, your family can go into these homes and set up beds for children. And it is a beautifully heartwarming experience. So we're always looking for volunteers to help with delivering. We're always looking for donations of the bedding and the pillows. Monetary donations, of course, are great because that's used to particularly purchase our lumber. And then on our build days are put on our Facebook page. We haven't determined a date yet for January. We're looking at a February date right now, but we're trying to collect as much money as we can so that we can build as many beds as we can. But when we get that date determined, we'll put it on there, and we'd love to have people come out and help, because there really is something for everybody to do.
Sure. And how do people find you on Facebook? What's the name of the page?
It's Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and then our chapter name is Westminster-SC. So if you just look that up, you'll be able to find us. You can also find our Facebook linked online at our SHP website.
Sure.
It's all on there.
Sure. And that's shpbeds.org, and you can just click on your local location, which in this case is Westminster, and it has all the information there as well. Kaitlyn, thank you so much. Thanks for what you do, and we hope that you and your family and organization have a Merry Christmas, and we'll chat back in with you next year, and maybe we'll be out at one of your build days.
That sounds wonderful. We look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Kaitlyn Turner, she's chapter president of Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Again, shpbeds.org, shpbeds.org. You can donate online, and there's also a volunteer button you can click and get additional information as well. Dr. Richard Gibbons is a native of Scotland. He's been the senior pastor at First Presbyterian Church in downtown Greenville since 2007. I'm always happy to get to spend a little time with Dr. Gibbons each year leading up to Christmas. Dr. Gibbons, welcome. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Joey, thank you for the warm invite to be with you. It is an exciting time of year, and I'm delighted to be with you.
Yes, it is. What a special time of the year, a busy time for First Presbyterian. Before we get into some of the specifics of what you have planned for Christmas at First Pres, let's talk a minute about your message to people about the real meaning of Christmas, how we balance that with all of the commercialization that we see in the holiday.
Indeed. Joey, I think most of us get excited around this time of year. We love to send out cards, decorate our homes. We appreciate going to concerts and events and parties. And of course, we love seeing the children celebrate Christmas. And yet, in the midst of all of that busyness and the frenetic pace, it's helpful now and again just to step back a little and remember the real significance and importance of Christmas. And of course, it is the birth of the Christ child, God coming into this world to give us hope, to transform us, renew us, change us from the inside out by giving us a new heart, new mind, new soul, and drawing us into a relationship with Him. And that's the real meaning of Christmas, as you know, and that's the one that we celebrate the most, and that's the one that's the most fun as well.
Yeah, Christmas is a special time, and when you have family to share it with, but it can also be a tough time for people who maybe don't have family, or maybe they've lost someone special in their lives this year.
Yes,
what
indeed.
Advice do you have people who are struggling at this time of the year?
Joey, we have a service the first week of December, and it's now past, of course, but it's intentionally in that first week because between Thanksgiving and Christmas, if someone has lost a loved one in the last 8 to 10 months, that can be a hard time for them. There's an empty seat at the Thanksgiving table. They're not quite sure what to do about buying gifts for someone who's no longer there. And of course, all of those memories can be overwhelming. And in fact, it can be a sad time. But nonetheless, I often say to folks in that situation, when you get together with family and friends, talk about the person you've lost. Spend time celebrating them. Articulate those special memories, get alongside each other, and that makes the grief so much easier. So if your listeners are struggling at this time of year, it's healthy to talk about the person you've lost. If you're struggling with addiction, depression, loneliness, try and get alongside folks who will listen and encourage you a little, and try not to isolate yourself at Christmas. That's important as well.
Yeah, those are good words of encouragement. And of course, regardless of your situation, we're all still celebrating the birth of our Christ.
We are indeed, absolutely. And that should give us that sense of comfort and hope that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Dr. Richard Gibbons is with me today. senior pastor at First Presbyterian Church in downtown Greenville. And for listeners who maybe aren't that familiar with First Presbyterian, it's a large, busy downtown church at the corner of Richardson and Washington. Dr. Gibbons, talk a little about the church, what you have leading up to Christmas. I know it's a busy time for you, for your choirs, for everyone involved in making these services special.
Yeah, it is. And during the last part of November, moving into December, we've had three major projects this year. The first is a well-known project, which many of your listeners will be familiar with, called the Children's Shoebox Appeal. And Samaritan's Purse, who is, as you know, this wonderful mission agency who help kids who pretty much have nothing. And they pass out shoeboxes, and families and individuals and children can go shopping, pick up socks, toys, games, some underwear, toothpaste, some soap, all sorts of things to put in a shoebox and to be passed out to kids who have nothing. And so that was our first major project, end of November, early December. Then we had what we call our angel tree. And throughout the church here, we put up a number of Christmas trees and we hang a cardboard angel on it. And each member of the congregation lifts off an angel, turns to the back, and it will say, basketball for boy, age 8. It might say game for girl, age 6. It might say colouring in crayons and pencils and colouring books for 4-year-olds. And what we do is we collect hundreds, if not thousands, of individual toys, and we then take them to the Judson neighbourhood here in Greenville, and we open a Christmas store. And moms and dads who come from some of the most disadvantaged neighbourhoods can buy Christmas gifts, anything from a basketball all the way up to a bicycle for $5. So mom and dad can say, we bought Christmas presents for our gifts, and then give them to the kids on Christmas morning. And so the whole family is involved in the act of Christmas itself. And we think that's a spectacular way of helping local families make a difference at Christmas. Yeah. And then finally, one of our bigger events was called a Concert for a Cause. And that was on behalf of what's called the Isaiah 117 House. And that will be new to most of your listeners. The idea there was this: that sometimes kids in troubled, dysfunctional, broken homes, when social services intervene, social services don't always have a placement for that child that night. And so a number of Christian charities in towns got together, have been breaking ground recently, and a house is under construction where social services will be able to place a child overnight, 24 hours in an emergency situation. And we are convinced that we are helpfully and prayerfully making a difference in the lives of some of these kids. Wow,
that's a lot. And that's, as we were talking earlier about this being a special time, Christmas, of course, is the season of giving. And for First Presbyterian to reach out and to really touch the community, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, through and through. And we think we're obliged, having been the recipients of the love of Christ and having been transformed ourselves, our job is to reach out and share that love with others who really are in need. And so we definitely hope, as I said, and pray that as a congregation we're making a significant difference.
Yeah. And of course, Christmas Eve, you have a number of opportunities for worship, your Christmas Eve services. Talk with us about your schedule and what you have planned for this year.
Joey, thank you for asking. Christmas Eve, of course, is one of the highlights of our year. And this year, for the first time, we're putting on 5 services. Joey, as a congregation, we're a little microcosm of Greenville itself, and we are bursting at the seams. We can't open up enough services on Christmas Eve. So this year, as I said, for the first time, we have 5 services, and folks can find out more details about them at firstpresgreenville.org. We have an 11 in the morning, then a 2 in the afternoon, then again a 4 in the afternoon, a 7 at night, and then a watch night service at 11 o'clock that night. And 2 of those services are for children and families, and that means we have a live nativity. In other words, we have children dressed up as shepherds and angels, wise men. Of course, Mary and Joseph are there. But what makes our services just that little bit different is that we will also have contemporary figures participate in the nativity. For example, after all the biblical characters come forward, then we have a couple of youngsters will come forward with backpacks, and they will gather at the manger. Then we will have a doctor with a white lab coat and a stethoscope gather at the manger, a fireman, a police officer, and then the kids go wild when Santa comes in. And Santa comes in and he kneels at the manger, takes off his hat in reverence to the Christ child, and then I pray, and when the kids open their eyes, of course, Santa is busy at this time of year, so he's left and on his way. And that's always a lot of fun. And so our family and children, we're having to do 2 services for them this year at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Wow. Again, that's firstpresgreenville.org, firstpresgreenville.org. You can get the entire schedule there. Pick out a service that is good for you and your family. There's parking close by within the area down there. Now, one final question, and Dr. Richard Gibbons with me today, with the senior pastor at First Presbyterian Church. If someone can't make it physically to one of your services, what about streaming?
We do. We live stream all of our services, and so they will go out at the times indicated on the website, and so folks can sit at home and watch them, or if they're traveling, again, they can click in and see them. We also have a couple of television specials going out around that time of year, and they can see them on local television channels as well.
Wow, yeah. Dr. Gibbons, it's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you, and I have a public service announcement for your listeners this morning.
Okay.
And I get into trouble when I do this at church, and here it comes. I am known for having a strange sense of humor, and I'm conscious that the dads listening to your program love dad jokes. So here's my Christmas dad joke this year. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The question comes as a question. What do snowmen say? Answer: do you smell carrots? And the only thing snowmen can smell is carrots. So dads who are listening, please feel free to inflict this on your children and your grandchildren over the Christmas season.
Dr. Gibbons, it's always a pleasure. You know, our conversation this time of the year really puts me in the spirit. It's kind of the way I kick off my Christmas holiday. So thank you for your time. God bless you. Thank you for what you do in our community. And, hey, we'll talk again soon.
Joy, thank you. And allow me, please, very briefly to say God's richest blessings to you, your family, and each of your listeners as well.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.